Yes, we are. 16th April, 1:26 p.m. Windibank's Pawnbrokery. Here we are again at the scene of the crime. Now, to thrust these representation papers in Gregson's face to see what he makes of them. Hello again, Inspector. Do you have a minute, please? What is it now? You should go home and get some rest. Here you are, Gregsy. Here's some the representation papers. Your ladyship. Oh, ha! I don't believe it. How did you get that stubborn little ragabash to sign that? I salute you. That is good work, that is. I can see you've been very busy here as well. How about some tea? It's a special blend designed to relieve fatigue. Glug glug glug. Lovely. Well, let's see now. Yes, I hardly feel tired at all. Fit as a fiddle, your ladyship. Would it be alright if we investigated the scene of the crime then? Do as you please, you know where it happened. Through that door behind the counter. Okay. The storeroom. That's where I discovered Mr. Windibank. And Gina. Right, well, I'll be getting back to business then. Will you be investigating in the storeroom as well, Inspector? If I'm perfectly honest, we need to wrap this up before long. Can't afford to spend too much time on it. There's so many articles to go through. It's taking forever, even with the lads working around the clock. Which is a problem, because there's another case the yard needs to investigate urgently. That must have been what Lord Strongheart meant by far more serious matters before. What I'm saying is, don't get under my feet, sunshine. Okay. Let's not waste any time. That's a music box. Do you have them where you come from, Bruno? Yeah, but I've never seen one as large as this in Japan. Oh well, this will be a treat. Shall we have a listen? Yay, let's play it again. What do you think? Isn't it pretty sound? It's a beautiful sound, yeah, but it's a little hard to enjoy that with all the policemen in the room giving you fierce looks. Never mind that. If any of them say anything, I'll tell them Grexy to have a word. Wilson, Superintendent of Scotland Yard. I guess you could put it that way. This officer has been staring intently at the wall since before we came here. Shh, down. Sorry, is there a major clue just here? Really? Just tell Grexy at once. As soon as I report it, that'll be it. I'll be stuck here even longer. Stuck here? What do you mean? I haven't been home in 2 days already. I need another constable to relieve me and take over me ship. They have a really tough time in the British police. That doesn't stop us from investigating though, does it? No, I suppose not. I'm pretty sure it was the calendar here he was peering at. Yeah. Look here. Oh yes, a bullet hole. You can see the bullet still lodged in the wall. Presumably Mr. Windibank wasn't practicing with his revolver in his spare time. There's blood. Well, Mr. Sholmes likes to practice in his drawing room whenever he can. He's very patriotic like that. Sorry? It's all there in the Adventures of Herlock Sholmes, you know. Isn't that right, Iris? Did I write something like that? Partly in jest, perhaps. In jest? Well, he doesn't do it often. It's quite dangerous pastime. Doesn't do it often. He should do it once. Forget that now, Bruno. Let's examine the bullet. Okay. What's that around the bullet hole? It's blood? Suspicious red stain on the calendar. Maybe we'll help you with that. There's nothing like the sight of blood to get blood pumping, is there, Bruno? I have a feeling I'm not as bloody-minded as you, Iris. I'm afraid the sight of blood makes my blood run cold. There you have it, you see. When it comes to blood, we're all different types. What a scientific observation. So you see this? No. What's that scary looking thing? Harley and I haven't actually come up with a name for it yet, but as soon as you see it in action, you'll understand what it does. What? It's all green now. The color of bloodstain has changed. Does that make sense now? I think I'm starting to understand. Good. It works on the principle that different people have different types of blood, you see? How wonderful. The chemical it fires combines with the blood and makes it change color, so you can identify whose blood it is that you're looking at in a flash. Oh, what a fabulous invention, Iris. Isn't it? I bet Ginny would say it's bleeding great. So whose blood are we looking at? Well, all the chemical does is turn the blood to different colors, so just find someone whose blood turns the same color and you'll know who it belongs to. In a flash. I guess it'll be useful. That's like 2 flashes really, isn't it? 1 flash or 2, this could turn out to be a very valuable clue. You must take a note of it in the court record. Okay. Let's keep testing and add the results of any other blood analysis into the portfolio. Sure. Why not? Sure. Blood. Blood. As long as I have the regent left, sure. You could run out of regent. Okay. Don't see any other blood anywhere. There's an article ledger here, and Mr. Winterbank's notes, and what's this? It looks like as though someone left a little photographic print behind. Look, on the back. Some writing. Is there? Oh, show us, Susie. Show me. 15 February, 10:30. Article deposit. 1 gentleman's overcoat. Loan amount paid. £1. Redemption deadline. 15 April, 10:30 p.m. A gentleman's overcoat pawned for £1. Clearly it was a fine overcoat. In fact, I think it must be the ticket for the overcoat that Ginny redeemed yesterday and is still wearing, which belonged to Mr. McGilden. I would have never expected this redemption ticket to be handwritten on the back of the photograph, though. It seems Mr. Winterbank just used whatever piece of paper he happened to have in hand. Interesting. But this photograph of a cat looks very familiar, doesn't it? I'm sure we've seen the exact same picture somewhere else recently. You're right, very recently. It's the same one Ginny gave us earlier. Of course, I was forgetting that she gave us that print. What are you waiting for? Get it out. Okay. Let the cogs turn. Hey look, they're different. They're exactly the same. Oh? Hehe, I got it. These 2 photographs hide an amazing secret. Secret? What's she mean? You must tell us, Iris. Hehe. Do you really want to know? Yeah? We need you to tell us about this pair of photographs. Tell us. Converse? So, Iris, about these 2 photographic prints, the one we found here at Mr. Winterbank's cabinet and the one Genus gave us before. What's the amazing secret you mentioned that's hidden between these 2 identical prints? Actually, that's not quite right. Sorry? If you look carefully, the 2 prints aren't the same. Not exactly. They're not? Have another look at them now. You see that they're just slightly different from each other? I think so. It's very subtle though. But what's the reason for the subtle difference between the two prints? Ah, well, it's because they're set, you see. No I don't. The pair of photographs is meant to be used in a stereoscope. Everyone in London is raving about them at the moment. Ah, a stereoscope. Why do I feel as though I heard that word before? That's what Mr. Sholmes showed us yesterday. Let's look at that. You see, there it is, just over there. Ah, of course, that magical machine makes pictures look almost real enough to touch. Well, actually, it's quite possible to see the same depth in pictures even without one of those two contraptions. Really? Do you know how a pair of flat photographic prints can appear to have any depth in the first place? No idea. Oh, wonderful. I'll be able to tell you. She's over the moon. Bless her. Should we let her explain, though? You need to really carry on. Yeah, I, for one, simply have to know. Alright. Have you ever considered, Bruno, how our eyes see depth in the world around us? I just open them and it works. The reason it works is because we have two eyes. Two eyes. Shocking. If you try closing one eye at a time, I think you'll see straight away. What you see in your left eye, and what you see in your right eye, are ever so slightly different. You get a different view with each eye. Yeah. Indeed. Well, position of objects even shifts slightly. Exactly. And in your head, your brain uses that to shift to estimate depth as it merges the two views into one. And that's how we can sense depth in everything we see. The brain really is amazing, isn't it? It does so much without telling me. Ah, I think I see. So the pair of photographs consists of a left eye view and a right eye view. Is that right? Oh, well done, Susie. You're so quick. So if you can persuade your brain to merge the two pictures together in your head, you'll be able to see depth in these prints? Yes, Bruno, you're beginning to understand. A stereoscope's function is to act as your brain and allow you to do just that. Yeah, but as long as you have two images, two eyes, and one brain, you can actually do it yourself without needing a stereoscope at all. You can, really? How do I do that? Do we cross our eyes or something? Let's try it. Let's see if you can view this pair of prints without needing the help of a stereoscope. I'm dying to have it at a go. Susato-san really loves this kind of thing. You need to be able to cross your eyes. That's the main thing. You do both do that? Cross my eyes? I think I can. Watch me and see if you can copy. Ooh. Make your eyes do this. Alright, let me try. Are you ready, Mr. Naruto? There we go. How's that? Wonderful. Now it's your turn, Bruno. The trick is to concentrate on looking at the bridge of your nose with both eyes at the same time. Okay, and then? I have to go really close, I guess. Right, with enough practice, let's try looking at the prints. Start by staring at one print and slowly crossing your eyes. You see two overlapping images like this. And you try it now, Bruno. I'm going to give it a try, I suppose. The print split into two images for you. Now, the next step. Now, so put the pair of prints side to side like this, and then try to cross your eyes again. The prints should slowly merge together. They form a new single image in the center. Oh yes, Mr. Naruto, it works. I can see it in the middle now. It looks so real. Look at it up to. What did I advise? Your eyes might start to hurt. Now your turn, Runo. Okay. Pretend you're looking through the tube images and slowly close your eyes. I can't do it. Keep adjusting the position of your eyes until the two images overlap exactly in the middle. Like this is it. There, you managed it. Now you know how stereoscopic images work. Well, I don't know who discovered it, but it really is quite extraordinary. What do you think of these stereoscopic prints then? Bruno, they're certainly amazing, but it isn't easy to get the knack of viewing them properly. No, some people find it easier than others. But that's why contraptions like this exist, for people who find it tricky. Oh, I recognize that. I saw one over there yesterday, didn't we? Let's look at it. If I remember correctly, you press this little knob here. And I guess we put them, set the pair of photographs in this stand at the back end. It's still amazing, even though I know roughly how it works now. Well, London seems to agree with you. Stereoscopes are very popular at the moment. You can find one of these folding contraptions in lots of households in the capital currently. If these little machines are so affordable, surely there's no need to go around staring cross-eyed at pictures if you hate them. I guess you could put it that way. It's much more satisfying to be able to see the effect with your own eyes. Well, I think so in my case. Stereoscopic pictures. I've never even heard of them until yesterday. We certainly learned a lot about them, but I wonder if it's knowledge I'll ever actually need. And I've got 2 photographs. We probably want to, check the blood or something, right? So, there's blood. Naruto, I don't know if you've noticed, but there's something rather troubling here. Yeah, I've noticed. Red smear, you mean? Yeah, looks like blood, doesn't it? If Susato-san has picked up on that, well, in that case, we need Iris. We should show this to her before we forget. Okay. It's updated. Can we present to her something, maybe? That looks like blood. Dun, 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 dun. I would say it's from a gloved finger, almost certainly a glove made of leather. Well, don't worry, Runo. You can leave the rest to me. Boom. It's purple-ish magenta. Look at that. It's a color we haven't seen before, isn't it? Simply, we must add it to the portfolio of blood samples. Could be an important clue. Although, it would be nice to find out whose blood these different colors correspond to at some point. Well, this particular stain of blood... Oh, you've had an idea, haven't you? Do you know whose blood this is? No idea. How could I? We only have a known sample of the same color. Without that, it's impossible to know. Oh, how very vexing. I wonder. Well, it's true that the color doesn't help us, but what about considering how the mark came to be there in the first place? You might have an idea about that. Mightn't you, Runo? Not if you keep staring at me like that, no. Let's try that again, shall we? Well, that particular blood. You've had an idea, haven't you? Do I know whose blood it is? I guess I do. I have an idea whose blood it is. Not from the color it turned, but with a little deduction. Yep, that's right. I think it's clear. Iris, do you know as well? You're first, Runo. Who do you think it belongs to? Oh? Alright, I believe that this is the blood of... Flares-fired Mason? Pot Windbank? Gina Lestrade? Oh my, you think this is Gina's blood? I think it's Gina who brought the ticket here at Windibanks after all. Sometimes a simple answer is the right one. But Gina doesn't own any gloves at all. Oh. And Ginny wasn't injured either, was she? Well, we're trying to work out who the blood came from, so we can rule out anyone who hadn't had bleeding straight away. Perhaps my answer is a little too simple. Let's think about this through some more. Do we know who's bleeding at the time? 15th February. Maybe it was Pop Windibank? Do you think it somehow could be Mr. Windibank's blood? Well, he had been the last person to have handled the ticket. One of the simplest answers is the right one. But Mr. Windibank had no injuries before she was shot, that is. We're trying to work out whose blood. Yeah, okay. Guess it was McGilded? I haven't accidentally cut myself before. Thank for the mildly threatening advice, Iris. Who do I know was bleeding at the time? I don't know. Dice Fire Mason? You don't sound very sure of yourself the way you trailed off there. Well, it was 2 months ago now, that case, and of course I never met the victim. I'm just struggling to remember his name. He's definitely thrice fired, though. The victim? Of the omnibus case? His name was indeed Thrice Fired Mason. But that would mean that his bloodstain was left on the ticket 2 months ago. Yeah, I think it was. Gina brought this ticket here to Windibank yesterday, but I'm suggesting that the bloodstain was already on it at that time. It's a smear of blood from the time that Mr. Mason was killed 2 months ago. Something else is coming back to me now. Mr. McGilded was also wearing leather gloves that night. Now, ask you, what good-hearted soul wouldn't rush to help a fellow bleeding from his stomach? I was about to start worrying about me gloves now, was I? I reached out to give the man a hand. So, it certainly does look like a leather glove thumbprint, this mark, but we know that Mr. McGilded had no injuries at the time anywhere on his body, from which we can conclude that any blood on the glove belongs to the victim, Mr. Mason. Mr. Naruhodo, you sound just like Mr. Sholmes. Minus quirky slip-ups, I hope. Yes, I think you're right, Runo. Very well, let's make a note of this. Details of the pawnbroker's ticket for the coat has been updated in the court record. The blood sample portfolio has been updated also. Well, let's finally move into the pawn. There? We're gonna go in there? Behind that door, it's the storeroom, isn't it? That's what Grexy said. We going in? That's where I saw the dreadful scene last night, through the little window in the door. Mr. Windibank faced down on the floor, with Gina beside him, holding the gun. As the accused legal representative, you have the right to examine the scene, Mr. Naruhodo. Please make a thorough investigation. Of course, we will. Behind that door, that's the real scene of the crime. Don't worry, if there are any clues in there, we'll find them. Can we go? "16th April Windibank storeroom. Poor Iris. She's clammed up completely. Iris is bound to find this difficult. After all, Mr. Windibank's life was taken in this very room only last night. Put this thing. Ugh. Put this on the floor. Wait, Inspector. What is it now, Sunshine? You took one look at me and tried to run away. You think Scotland Yard's inspector would run away from some jumped up little defense lawyer, do you? It's getting pretty dark. I have to turn on an extra light. Did it? Did it? My face is so blurry. Well, I've never seen her ladyship looking like that before. The thing is, I didn't know what to say to her. You weren't running from me, you were running away from a 10-year-old. I'm afraid that this is all a little much for young Iris. Some gentle reassurance might go a long way, perhaps, Inspector. Don't trouble yourself unduly, your ladyship. I mean, at least you're not dead, are you? Yeah, I don't think that went very well. Why? Look, I'm in the middle of an investigation here, Sunshine. I told you not to get under my feet. We have investigating to do ourselves. Yeah, I'd like to hear more about the socially inept, Inspector, I have to say. Oh, really? I inquired into how Mr. Sholm's operation is going. Scene of the crime. So, Inspector, what do you make of the crime scene here? Pshaw, you got eyes, haven't you? Use them. That what it looks like? Nothing more, nothing less. Iris, could you lend me a hand? So, Grexy, what do you make of the crime scene here? Oh yes, your ladyship, do allow me to humbly explain. Last night, shortly after the hour 1 o'clock in the morning, Scotland Yard police attended the scene. The one and only door to the storeroom was found locked from the inside, so it was locked from the inside. The lock appears to be broken now, though. Was that the police officers doing? Quite right, ma'am. We took the liberty of smashing the door in as humbly as possible. Okay. As you can see, the victim was discovered prostrate on the floor, thus-wise. And next to the aforementioned body, we discovered the vile gutter child. Are you talking about Ginny? She's my friend, you know, Inspector. Miss Lestrade, the hapless girl, was curled up on the floor, dead to the world. She's still alive, you know. When I saw her, she appeared to be unconscious, and I'm afraid to say she had the gun that was used in her hand. No. Presumably the gun that's still down there on the floor now. In her pocket, we found the key to the door as well. What? The key to this storeroom? And you say the storeroom had been locked from the inside, Inspector? Correct, all of which leaves her ladyship's friend in some of a sticky situation, I'm afraid. Obviously, my personal opinion is that some sort of misunderstanding. Of course it is, Inspector, of course it is. Grexy, do you know anything about Hurley? Is the operation finished? Is Hurley alright? Is he? The thing is, don't mince your words, Inspector, please. You don't mean to say that Mr. Sholmes is... No, the operation is done and dusted. It's just that, well, out with it. Yes, ma'am. We use something called a general anesthetic. It's the latest thing. Renders the whole body insensitive. Whole body. Anesthetize? Is that even possible? It means the operation can be completed while the patient is fast asleep. Goodness, in the Empire of Japan, we just managed to provide laughing gas for tooth extraction. The trouble is, the latest thing isn't the greatest thing, if you follow my meaning. They couldn't get the medication to work at first, so it took hours of him to nod off. So I hear. Now the operation's finished and they can't get him to wake up, apparently. Oh my. No one knows if the anesthetic's still in his system or if the bloke's just plain exhausted. But anyway, all they can do is stand back and watch until he comes around again. Early. The moment he opens his eyes, your ladyship, I swear I shall get the word to you. What a surprise, even in matters life and death, Mr. Sholmes has to do things his way. Let's examine, though. The police have marked the position of the body with a chalk line. And blood. Poor Mr. Windibank. He is a nice old man. Well, he was shot just once through the heart. Most likely the fellow died instantly. He wouldn't have felt a thing. This must be a blood then, right? I'd like to ask at such a wretched time, Iris, but I wonder if perhaps... Don't worry, Susie. I'm ready for action. Whew. Blue. So now we know the color of the chemical turns when it reacts to Mr. Windbank's blood. And it doesn't match our analysis of the bloodstain we found in the main shop. But let's add this sample to the others. Okay, sounds good to me. Let's also examine the gun. This is a revolver, a real one, and quite possibly the murder weapon used to take Mr. Windibank's life. What's the matter, Susie? You and Runo look like you're about to faint. Well, it's just that I've rarely seen a gun in the flesh. And I've had issues with guns in the past. But anyway, we saw Mr. Windibank with this yesterday, didn't we? I have to take my own life. It must be the same gun. Last night, while I looked through the spy hole in the door in the storeroom there, that was the same gun I saw in Gina's hand. Mr. Windibank told us he'd only ever had a single bullet loaded in his revolver, didn't he? Well, it's empty now. The one and only bullet he had in his gun had been fired, so we can be fairly certain that a single shot was fired from this revolver. That simplifies the case, I suppose. Out of all the articles in the storeroom, this is the only thing that shows any sign of being intact. What is it, Iris? That's the box file my manuscript was being kept in. Iris' unpublished story, The Hound of Baskervilles. Surely that's not what all this... Sorry, Iris, but if you asked me, he sold it. Without telling you. We must check inside the box at once. Yeah. It was there. Iris' story was there. Really? It was? Well, that's good news, isn't it, Iris? Yes. I mean, of course, I believed Charlie when he said he deposited here, but still, it's a relief to actually see it. Really? Because that's not a very well hidden frown. Alright, we have it in evidence. Look at all these articles that have been deposited. This room is full of them. I can't believe how many there are. Bicycle, gramophone, musical instruments, even some enormous paintings. Look, pieces of different people's lives, quietly gathering dust in here together. There's something peaceful about the atmosphere in here, or at least there would be if not for the chalk outline on the floor and the policeman shuffling around. Not much I can do about that, sunshine. Poopity boop. Can you still look at it? Iris? Don't worry, I'm alright. But we must find the true culprit. Yes, absolutely. I think we covered everything at this point, right? Alright. I guess we move. Let's just go back to the hospital, I guess. Well, there's no one here. Maybe we'll go back to the prison? Gina doesn't appear to be here. I believe she must be in questioning at the moment. But wait a minute. What is it, Iris? Well, if you examine the crime scene here carefully, another possibility isn't there. Did he get the key from the jailer when he wasn't looking and escaped? What? Why would she do something like that? It would only make her situation worse. Calm down, Runo. I was only joking, of course. Oh, yeah, you worried there. I thought I was a great deduction. Yeah, it must be your way with words. You're so wonderfully persuasive. Perhaps you don't fully understand the weight of your words carry. Oh dear. I'm sorry. I suppose a lighthearted great detective is a contradiction in terms. Well, in the same situation, I'm sure Mr. Sholmes would have thrown his head back and guffawed. I'm not entirely sure that's helpful, Mr. Nerdhodo. Well, anyway, it looks like we won't be able to talk to Gina in a while. Try to make progress with our investigation in the meantime. Yeah, come along then, Runo. Maybe we are missing something? That ledger's open on the counter there. It really is enormous, isn't it? Must be awful lot of work to keep track of all these hundreds of items in the pawn shop. It's too much to think about it. Better to sell it all and have a clear head if you ask me. But clearly Mr. Winterbank was very careful when it came to the articles of his care. The police are scouring every inch of this place by the look of it. Instructions from the yard are to examine every article in the shop and every ledger and book of accounts. Every article? But that's a ridiculous amount of work, surely. We've been hard at it ever since the shop was declared a crime scene during the early hours. We've been sifting through it all in shifts at least, but still, we've been working through the night, that's for sure. Even then, we barely have scratched the surface. Crime and pawnbrokers. Must be every policeman's worst nightmare. It's the copper's worst nightmare, you know? Crime and pawnbrokers. These shelves are where the pawnbroker puts his articles that might have been forfeited on display for customers. Let's see. Strange miscellany, isn't it? I mean, Sometimes you can find some real treasures among all the junk, you know. Are you alright, Reno? It's just, well, it looks like a collection of useless junk as a whole, but when you pick out individual things, you can't help but wishing you owned them. Even that horse statue. That's exactly how the pawnbroker works. They're very clever. It was that strange contraption that lets you see pictures of things that are right in front of your eyes. Makes you think when Mr. Sholmes gleefully showed it to us yesterday, we were blissfully unaware that any of this was about to happen. Yeah, I guess so. Fairly sure this contraption was here yesterday as well. Here we are, though. I'm not confident I can get it closed again. Oh yes, that's a folding stereoscope. Really? This is a stereoscope? Mr. Sholmes showed us a picture yesterday that you were supposed to be able to see in 3 dimensions, but for that he used a great big contraption over there. Ah well, that's for use in public houses and places like that. It contains a carousel with all sorts of pictures inside. But this little thing is much simpler to design for use at home. There's special shops selling prints you can use in them. I have a little collection myself. I wonder if I could make money out of these in Japan. It would be keeping my toilet sparkling clean anyway. I guess we've done everything, Guess we could look at this. The Hound of Baskervilles. How did Susato know the exact title of his unpublished story? I suppose I'll just have to wait until she's ready to explain to me. I'm sorry. I guess there's nothing. Maybe we could present this one? Oh, my manuscript. Mr. Sholmes said he deposited it at Windibanks, and he had, but it's so strange. What is it about this particular story? I worked so hard on it. Why would Hurley say I can't publish it? I'm afraid I have no idea. All you can do is wait until he's ready to tell you, I suppose. Oh, maybe it's because Hurley isn't in it enough. Maybe I didn't give him enough good lines. Yeah, maybe. I wish I could say that definitely isn't the reason, but I can't. Okay. Small box. There's a Phyllis Cotton Yard carriage outside Windibanks. I never imagined we'd investigate the case so close to home. Poor Iris, she's still very upset about it. Sorry, I was there. I should have done more. None of this is your fault, you know. So please don't apologize. It's the criminals who are to blame for all this. Let's investigate and work out how to catch them. You're right. It's already been 2 months since we, I think we went through this. Hey, AC88. Maybe later we can hunt? Yeah, I think that's the plan. We're planning to do a hunt after this. We're gonna raid Shazil and then we're gonna go hunting. Let's do it. When Hurley comes back home, we have a big party. That's a good idea. I'm sure it won't be long. Mr. Sholmes is very tough. Yep. Okay. We explored that. Explored everything here. Come to think of it, I haven't seen you doing much writing recently, but there's paper already set up in the typewriter I noticed, as if you're about to start. I'm a little bit stuck for a new story, actually. You could consider using what happened to Mr. Natsumi, perhaps? Oh yes, that's a fabulous idea. And a great title just popped up into my head as well. Well, I hope you're doing well, AC88. I hope your sermon writings have been doing well. Adventures of the Caddy Man. How's that, Runo? Look at Mrs. Sholmes' desk. It's completely clear. Looks completely different without that enormous machine on it. Hurley lives in an absolute mess all the time. He never notices when things go missing. Even Mr. Sholmes must have noticed that huge lump of metal is no longer there. Surely. There's all sorts of these shelves. Chemistry apparatus, books, papers, and a lot of things I've never seen before. It's all heaped up so high, I can't help feeling that the whole lot is going to topple at any moment. Hurley does tend to overload the shelves. That's one way of putting it. I wanted to look something up in one of those books the other day, you know? It was so tightly crammed in, he gave up and went out to buy a brand new copy instead. It's an unusual way to make use of a huge metal chest as a table for tea and coffee, but it's a very sturdy box. Notice that it's always locked. Ah, well, that's because that box contains my most important things, which you have no intention of telling me more about, judging from that guarded smile. Maybe we can move. I've only been here in London for about 2 months, but my desk is starting to look a little messy already. Hurley's desk is far worse, you know. I'm sure if I try hard enough, I can make my desk as messy as Mrs. Sholmes. I wonder... You don't think I can? Well, it takes a certain genius to reach that level of disorder, you know. The path to true mess is long and arduous, it seems. Ooh, what's this? Oh, this looks like a telegram. It is, but you mustn't open it, not under any circumstances. Alright, I won't. Now then, let's see. Oh, what did I just say? You mustn't open it. Don't worry, I won't. With this special concoction I developed, I'll be able to see through the envelope without having to open it. No, that's not allowed either. But I'm sure it's something important. Little geniuses sure can be mischievous. What am I missing? Maybe we could examine something else. Converse. Present. Is that what I think it is? Your ladyship's latest? My latest story. It's called The Hound of the Baskervilles. Most fascinating title, your ladyship. Fascinating. I don't suppose... Will there be any mention of my humble self in this tale this time? Good question. I can't really remember. I see. Well, why would you, your ladyship? I was just waiting its publication with eager anticipation. You needn't worry, Inspector. I'm sure you do appear. You wouldn't be doing anything particularly remarkable. You looking to be arrested, Sunshine? I didn't mean it like that. And even if I did, you wouldn't have bitten her ladyship's head off, would you? Dr. Gregson, could you give me your opinion about this? Do you think? You don't tend to share, Sunshine. Not with the general public. In that case, Grexy, what about some herbal tea? Like. I don't think he's gonna give me an opinion on the evidence I gave him, though. Lovely. Very much. That really hit the spot, your ladyship. You don't mind sharing that, then? Ooh, is there something? It's Kazuma's. Lawyer's name embroidered on the inside here. Look, Kazuma's Sogi. This was his band, of course. He had his heart set on this study tour in Great Britain. So he would have found the truth he longed for here. He lost his life before he even had the chance to see the place. I have such a strong sense of his hopes and dreams when I look at this armband now. Objection? Yeah, we're not in the court. We're still investigating. How are you doing, Stratus? I hope you're doing well. We kind of ran out of things to look at, I guess. We've gone through almost everywhere. Maybe we can get back here? No. Can't converse or do anything here. Nothing here. Hanging out while making new emotes. Sweet. I have not made too many new emotes. I've only moved my my Shish emote to the tier 1. So that's the new one. But we have not figured out what other emote we wanted to get. Poor Hurley, I know. It looks stiff as a board, doesn't it? Maybe I'll have to browse around and see what are some cool emotes to make. I don't think that will bother him, no? I also find him asleep face down on the floor, completely dead to the world. I think I'd call the police if I discover someone like that. Nothing of particular interest in this room. Yeah. Can't seem to find anything at all. History, court record, back. Into the showman's suite. Could look through it a little more. Well, let's just go through everything. Fire's burning comfortably, and the grate again today. It's a very different feeling to Japanese hibachi, however. Curly's been working on his disguise recently. He's been dressing as a woman. Really? Mr. Sholmes dresses in women's clothes? You see the lady in that photographic print on the mantelpiece? That's Hurley. Okay. Looking at that. These are all the mementos Mr. Sholmes' past cases, I think. Maybe been involved in my case. I wonder if the beefsteak from La Carnival would be on display here. Hurley says that Waggy is a memento too. How? Tried really hard to get the little fella to stay on the shelves at first. But he had to give up in the end. Waggy just wouldn't keep still. Funny that. Alright, got that. Cat. That. Looked on these walls. Look at the violin. The Stradivar. The Stradivarius. No, it's no good. It's gone. Virtuoso's violin he found in the pawnbrokers and managed to buy for next to nothing. I hope Hurley gets well soon. I miss hearing his violin playing already. Oh, Iris, I'm sure he will. Oh, I think we looked at... Ooh. Ah, yes, the letter V and R inscribed on the wall and with bullet holes. Isn't it the initials of the Queen or something? That's right. But Hurley isn't a very good shot, sadly. I can't remember how many times he had to replaster that patch of wall before he managed to make the letters. Is he a patriot or a plasterer? Right. Look at the right side of the house. Let's see, this. It's a charming little white shelf, full of charming little bottles too, but the contents of them aren't quite so charming, it seems. It's so close now. I nearly developed a rainbow smoke grenade, no? So you're still working on those colorful but fuming explosives, are ya? I tell you what, I've perfected it. When I've perfected it, I'll fire the first shot at you, Bruno. What an honor. Alright. Look at that. This is where you note down ideas, isn't it, Iris? Let's see, what does it say now? The Boscombe Valley Mystery. We visited Boscombe Valley recently for a picnic, you see, but I forgot to bring something. And when Hurley became thirsty, he decided to drink from the Boscombe pool, and he gave himself an awful tummy ache. Oh dear. Hurley sat there miserable as can be in that field of flowers after that, just like you saw him yesterday. That really is an unsavory tale. Your beautiful tea set is there on the table as usual. A cup of your special herbal blends always helps me to relax when I'm feeling the strain. Poor Hurley. He hasn't had a drop of tea today. Wish I could take some to the hospital for him. Well, that's about everything, I think. Let's we'll examine this. That spade has been here since we started renting the place. Bruno, that's not a spade, it's a shovel. You're a shoveler, are you? I had a feeling you'd pick me up on that. Oh no, I picked something else entirely. Now I've dug myself into an even deeper hole. Good puns, good puns. Alright, let's see. It's spring at last, and the weather's warmer now. I love the smell of the fire and the steam rising from the kettle. Oh, how about some tea, Bruno? Thanks, Iris, but I'm alright for now. With the green tea Susato gives me from time to time, and Iris' unique herbal infusions, this place is a paradise for a true tea lover. If you're sure, you know, I've always plenty of whenever you're feeling thirsty. Okay. So this is the tea set that Miss Susato brought with her from Japan. Let's hope she hadn't noticed me sipping sugar and milk into my slipping sugar and milk into my cup when she makes it. It's just so bitter. Susie's lovely green tea has quite an impact on Hurley, you know? He stopped putting milk and sugar in his coffee even. And Hurley is normally bitterly opposed to bitterness. Do you know, I've never seen inside Misusata's room. I haven't so much as put my head around the door. Hey, Epitome. Alright, gonna watch while I wash dishes. Ah, you and AC washing dishes. Amazing. What a coincidence. I hope you're doing well. Oh, Susie often invites me up. It's so much fun. Really? What's her room like? I can't tell you that. A young maiden's private chamber is a place of bittersweet secrets, you know. Where have I heard that before? I suppose some things are the same in the world over. The fish tank? You were rather lucky to find that old aquarium left behind there. The prawns we put in there are doing rather well, and the anemones too. Apparently tanks like those are very popular in London before I was born. Oh? You mean they're not anymore? I think people discovered it was too much effort to clean them out and change the water all the time. I can't believe that. Prawns and anemones are fun. Wow. Yes, we looked at everything here. Now where do we go? We've been to the front. We examined everything as far as I could see. Talk to these people. Police are scouring every inch of this place, by the look of it. Instructions from the yard are to examine every article in the shop. Every ledger and book of accounts. Every article, but... we already talked to this guy, and we already went through this dialogue. We looked at that, we looked at this, we looked at that. We looked at the horse thing, we looked at that. We looked at this. Oh, it's... Really could look at that again. Green blood. It just seems wrong somehow. Oh, there are all sorts of different colors. There's pretty pinks and purples too, you know. Like I said. Everyone's blood is different. I wonder what color my blood would turn out. Actually, I don't want to know. Okay. I think we scoured everything from the looks of it. Talked to him. Also presented almost everything. Well, guess we got nothing from him. What do you make of this? Ah, what have we here then? Redemption ticket for the article deposited here, is it? Looks like someone ran out of the office stationery and wrote the ticket on whatever paper was to him as an end. This is a ticket for Mr. McGilder's overcoat, the one that little diver turned up with yesterday. Actually, no, it's not. Really? I think you know better than me, do you? No, I didn't mean to, Bruno's right, Grexy. This isn't the same ticket. Of course it isn't, of course it isn't. I never doubted you, your ladyship. So what's all this about then, if I might be so bold as to ask? This is the second ticket. Second one? It seems that Mr. McGilden in fact had another article in storage here at Windibanks. But is that right? I think we need to discuss this further with the inspector, Mr. Naruhodo, because he's ever so easy to talk to. We finally have another dialogue. Let's go. This ticket was in one of the pockets of Mr. McGilden's overcoat. You mean to tell me? Yeah, there was more than more than just the music box disc, it seems. I should have insisted on the lads taking it back to the yard and examining it properly. Well, according to the details on this ticket, Mr. McGilden deposited another article here with Mr. Windibank. I can see it written here. A small box, was it? Do you have any idea where it is, Gregsy? Any at all? It's another article belonging to Mr. McGilden. It could be an important clue. I suppose it could be. Please stop looking at me with those blue, big turquoise eyes and all full of hope and expectation. It's too much pressure. I'll lose marbles, I will. I'll go barking. This is no time for dog impressions, Inspector. That's enough sauce from you, Sunshine. Okay. There's one thing that springs to mind. According to this ticket, the redemption deadline's already passed, hasn't it? Oh, yes, of course. Articles are only held for 2 months. So the small box will no longer be in here then? That's right. It's been forfeited. Which means it could be on the shelves in the front of this shop where the forfeited items are offered for sale. The shelves in the front. We search them at once. We must search them. You're wasting your time. Oh, there are dozens of old boxes out there. Hundreds even. We can't possibly know which one might have been Mr. McGilden's. That information was not written in the ledger. Well, I think we should at least have a look just in case. Of course, your ladyship, of course. Very sensible of you, I'm sure. This is getting old. Okay, we're gonna look for the box in somewhere. Dong, dong. Ah! Nearly jumped out of my skin there. How could Mr. Windibank set such a wicked trap? I doubt he'd get set out to scare anyone. Is that really the time? I think perhaps we should pay Gina another visit soon. Oh? Her trial's tomorrow, and we must establish whether or not you will be defending her. Oh, we already did. I think we should ask her one more time. She may have changed her mind. Don't you remember, Bruno? You told her she could rip up the representation papers if she didn't want to be you to be her lawyer. Really? Did I say that? Yep, you did. The deadline for submitting the paperwork is fast approaching. In that case, we had better hurry back to the prison and talk to Gina again. Aren't we gonna search all the boxes or something? Yes, this is where all the items that have been forfeited by their original owners are offered for sale. That's right, they've all got a little price labels on them, but there's so many. I wonder if the small box in this ticket is still on the shelf somewhere. Box that McGilden deposited here just over 2 months ago. Even if it were, finding it promises to be very troublesome indeed. There are so many boxes. It could be any one of them. Mr. Sholmes said that a pawnbroker's was the safest place to store anything, more secure than a bank's vault. So perhaps this small box of Mr. McGilden contains something of very great value. Hey, Sinus Prayer, good to see ya. Hey, Missionary Gamer, just a high and dropping verse of it. Is that? Are you ready? What's going on? Alright, Missionary Gamer drops a verse of the day. We read that before, but let's pull it up again. It says, "Let the word of Christ dwell in you richly, teaching and admonishing one another in all wisdom, singing psalms and hymns and spiritual psalms with thankfulness in your hearts to God." Colossians 3:16 on the ESV. Amen. How are you doing, Sinner's Priya and Machine Gamer? I hope you're doing well. Right now, we're in the midst of discovering a mystery where Gina Lestrade, who's a pickpocket, was found in a locked storeroom with the pawnbroker who was shot in the heart. And now we have to find a mysterious box that we couldn't find in there and find out if it's related to the very first case of Mr. McGilded, where we defended for him on as our second trial. Hiya! And now we got Susato takedown. Alright, AC's done with dishes. Let's start the latest version of Scattered Wisdom, so dropping by. Maybe we'll be able to catch you a little, but we have a lot of people who are gonna stream soon, so hopefully we'll get there. This game does look very fun to stream. Hope the story is well written. It's not too complicated, so it's a very great start for a beginners into the series. I think I really enjoy it. That sort of misconduct would get you arrested. Won't let that happen. Before we end off, let's read what the gospel message says. The gospel message means good news. The bad news is that we've all sinned and deserve the wrath to come. But Jesus the Messiah died for our sins and was buried and raised on the third day according to the scriptures, and he descended into heaven and is right now seated at the Father's right hand. Jesus said, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me, and the time is fulfilled, and the kingdom of God is at hand. Repent and believe in the gospel. And sin is to miss the mark of God's standard, it's to rebel against his law, his character, and our purpose. And to repent is to turn away from one way to show that you have a change of heart and sincerity. And to believe in the gospel means to trust in what Jesus has done, which he did. He sacrificed his life, living a perfect life, and then dying in a willing sacrifice for us so that we could have his righteousness, and he has our sin so that he could be punished for us. And so we trust him to be the one that takes it for us, and that we could be in a right relationship with God if we trust in what he's done. And that's the gospel. And so yeah. All right, now let's head back to being upside down, flipped from Susato. All right. So seems like we searched that part. We talked about this one already. Let's see. Move to the outside, maybe? Well, I think that's everything. So we might just move back to the prison and hope Gina wants us to represent her. And then that will be probably it for today. Alright, Gina, welcome back. 16th April, 5:41. It's already late. Local prison, cell 13. Gina, good, you're back. Hmm. Well, the police must have finished questioning her then. Oh, how was it, Ginny? Was it awful? Didn't bother me. Thank you for the papers you signed before. I mean, we're able to investigate at Windibanks. As much as I've heard the gospel many times, it's notable that it's the only story that has resonated in my soul every time I hear it. Well, it's changed my life, and I want to share it with everybody. Everyone who needs to hear it, I want to be able to give it to them. So that's one of the goals in my stream. Don't you want to know how we got on? What did I just miss? We've been ever so busy. What's the point of asking? Won't change what everyone say that I did it. That's not... Gina. We came to ask you for your final decision. Eh? What decision? About tomorrow's trial. Will you let me defend you or not? I must submit the paperwork now if you like Mr. Naruhodo to represent you. Right, I see. She's really lost her fight all of a sudden. But I know what that feels like. Worry is just so hard to bear. Let's talk. Right, let's tell her what we found out. Alright then, blimey, give it a rest with my eyes, Iris. Alright, Missionary Gamer. Maybe we'll chat in a little later, but we'll be probably hanging with AC after this stream. Assuming Search of Zeal finally comes on? Right. Who done it? Unfortunately, we don't know that yet. You don't say. We don't know yet, Gina. Mr. Naruhodo and all of us know that you are innocent of this crime. And while we haven't yet managed to work out who the real culprit is, there's a number of interesting facts that we have managed to establish. Oh yeah? Like what? Well, for example, the reason for you being there in the first place, I think we know why you broke into Winterbanks that night. Looks like I'm gonna have to take some evidence to clearly reveal the reason, and thrust it in Gina's face, or to present it to her calmly, I suppose. Right, we're gonna well, let's talk to her representation thing first. We already have the representation papers and the other documents we need. All we have to do is hand them to the court clerk. That is, if you allow me to represent you in court tomorrow. Nah, don't bother. Jenny, rip them up, chuck them, would ya? Them representation papers or whatever they're called, the cell ain't fancy enough to have them bin. So what will you do in court tomorrow? I'll be fine on my own. I don't think you will be. Look, it don't matter. What's gonna happen is gonna happen. There's one stubborn pickpocket. Okay, let's present some evidence. Maybe we'll get her to talk. We found this in Mr. Winterbank's storeroom. The manuscript of Iris' latest story. Oh, right. Well, that's good then. Curiously, the storeroom at Winterbanks showed no sign of being ransacked for items of value or the like. With one exception, the box file that housed this manuscript. It was you, wasn't it, Gina, who broke open the box containing this manuscript last night? You were determined to find out whether or not the Hound of the Baskervilles was really there. That's the real reason you broke into the storeroom last night, wasn't it? Why don't you tell us what happened, please? Okay. Alright. Yeah, it's Baskerville story. It's the latest Sholmes adventure, right? It ain't been printed yet, so I figured it's gotta be worth a fair few pieces of silver, right? At least 5,000 pounds. What? So, you intended to sell Iris' manuscript, did you? No. Jenny, how could you? What? Wait, no, hang on. Of course I weren't gonna sell it. All I wanted to do is find out if the manuscript or whatever you call it was really there or not. That's the only reason I was in the place. For Iris' sake. Isn't that right? I knew why you'd done it from the start, Gina. Of course you did. But I knew you wouldn't do anything mean like that, Ginny. I just knew it. Well, when I saw the manuscript in the storeroom, it reminded me of what you said the night before. Grown-ups do a lot worse than that, believe me, barefaced liars, a lot of them. You just ain't realized it yet. I'm telling ya, the manuscript ain't at Winterbanks. You'll soon see if I had a look. honest, I've wondered if Hurley's telling me the truth sometimes. I mean, that I sometimes wonder if he might have hidden my manuscript somewhere I don't know. Even though it's wrong of me to doubt him. Oh, Jenny, that was so sweet of you. Alright. I'll tell you why I did it. Just stop looking at me like that, Iris. It weren't because of Iris, that's not why I did it. It's just, I wanted to know the truth, that's all. You wanted to know Mr. Sholmes was being honest if he really deposited the manuscript at Windibanks? It's like I told you the night before. I never had a father. Oh, that's sad. But Iris, a lot ain't like mine. She's got her dad, only she can't see him. But I reckon that's gotta be harder. That's why she writes her stories. They're about her dad, really. That's what it sounded like to me anyway. Last night when I was listening to what you're saying, stories about Daddy? You mean they're not adventures of the great detective so much as the adventures of the great detective and his trusty partner? Well, that's how I see it, yeah. You're so thoughtful and so kind, Jenny. And we never thought any differently, did we? Look, give it a rest, will ya? I ate all this chummy nonsense, do you hear? I ate it. I don't trust no one, right? That's how I work. Cause if you don't trust no one can let you down. So leave me alone. Go on, Scarper. I didn't notice until now, but it must unmistakable right there on both sleeves of that overcoat. Are some very suspicious red stains. What are you looking at me like that? I think it might be worth presenting some of our other findings in the area to Gina now. Well, I guess we're presenting our evidence. Do you see this pawnbroker's ticket, Gina? It's the one you took to Windibanks, isn't it? The one for that black overcoat that you're wearing right now? What? That? I don't know. They all look the same to me, those tickets. Surely not. Well, this one had a very obvious mark on it. That would appear to be blood. Does that ring any bells? I don't know. It looks the same to me, blood. It all sound the same to me, these answers. Suspicious. What about... Here, Gina, look at this. That wasn't saying you could have it. Weren't you? Oh, get up. Hey, Kit Livingstone. Welcome to the party. I hope you're doing well. How was your stream? We were just about to present some evidence to our friend Gina Lestrade. She's our person that we want to represent in court, and she is a pickpocket, so yeah. How are you doing, Lady Haven Faith? Good to see you too. How was stream though? Let me know. Good stream. Hunting? I can't believe I missed it. Wish I ended earlier. Got a nice silver. I actually got a gold yesterday, I think. I got a moose, I think. Shot it in the dark or something. Shot it with barely even seeing it, so it was really good. Alright. Alright, we're gonna give her blood samples. I'm still upset that I need to restart that game. What do you mean? Which game you need to restart? I mean, what are you talking about? What are you referring to? Those stains on your sleeves on your new coat, Gina. They're blood, aren't they? Not that I know whose blood it is yet. What? I had to reset everything. Oh, how come? Is it because, like, the map got corrupted or something? You didn't appear to any. Ah, they fixed the glitch. I heard that they had an issue with teleporting, quick travel, fast travel points in multiplayer, something like that. Not sure if that is another glitch they were trying to fix. Hopefully with the update with the Hunter beta thing and also the new Apex Connect stuff, that they'll figure it out and then we'll not have any of these struggles. I didn't lose any data yet, so we'll have to see. Yeah, it's frustrating to start from scratch because the map takes a long time. Lady Faith says, I bought Call of the Wild in anticipation of me getting a game computer set up soon, while it was free. Well, does that mean you're gonna be able to play with us all together? Or do you still have to get that computer set up? Let's not beat around the bush here. We still have to get the computer. Alright, we're gonna do a DNA analysis with, I believe it tells you what the blood type is using the chemical. So let's see. Take it easy, Iris. Poof. Well, leaving a lurk to make something. Alright. Well, I can't wait to hang out and do some hunting together. I heard AC88 is about to start up. Alright, it's purple. Yeah, just checking out the controls now. Oh my. What? Forget the sleeves. The whole coat is covered in blood. Of course. The black color of the fabric was masking the stains. That's why we haven't seen them until now. Whoa. The blood when reacted with the chemical turned a purple color. I'm not sure how to do multiplayer yet, but that's fine. Yeah, so in order to do multiplayer, there's currently two ways. One way is to have it open server and then have us find your name on it and then we can all just join that. Or you can use Apex Connect and set up one that's private or friends only and then send invites through the new friend menu system. And then we just press Y and accept it. Yeah. Alright, we're gonna look who has purple blood. Brickmaker, Mr. Mason, the victim of the murder case 2 months ago. I knew it. What are you all on about? The victim? What do you mean? It's a rather uncomfortable situation, Mr. Naruhodo, but I think this makes it quite clear. It means the omnibus case is finally solved. The truth about who really murdered the Brickmaker, Mr. Mason, is revealed. Boy, would someone explain what's going on? Stop telling half a story. Alright. Let's chat. Yeah, Mr. McGilder truly was the murderer. We can see now that the victim's blood all over Mr. McGilder's overcoat. But in the trial 2 months ago, the defendant said that in his testimony. Now ask you, what good-hearted soul wouldn't rush in to help your fellow bleeding from his stomach? I wasn't about to start worrying about me gloves now, was I? Reached out to give the man a hand. But if you look at this overcoat now, it's clear. These stains couldn't have arisen from McGilder trying to pull the victim to his feet. No, if that was what really happened, the blood wouldn't have splashed all over the front of the coat. The only explanation for this pattern of blood is that it splattered over Miss McGilder's coat when he stabbed the victim in the stomach. Ooh, is that true? If I try to run from the truth for long enough, but there's no escaping it now. True culprit in that case, Mr. Mason's killer, Magnus McGilder. Is it true? I don't know. Mr. Naruhodo, that horrible case is solved at last, and I helped a man walk free from that trial. I used all that twisted testimony and all that sham evidence to prove his innocence. That's true. Might have happened. Now, how could I have let that happen? Oh, well, Gina did lie for us, so. Bruno, did you believe him, though? Did you believe Mr. McGilded was innocent? I sort of did. I believed, or rather, I think I was trying to believe. I wanted to. Because believing in those you represent in court is defense lawyer's greatest weapon. A weapon? Before we came to Great Britain, a great friend of mine taught me a valuable lesson. You mean Kazuma-sama? Listen, Ryunosuke. We lawyers are only human. We can only know for sure what is the truth and what is a lie. We can't know for sure. Which is why we must resort to our primary weapon. An unwavering belief in our clients. That's all we really have. Unwavering belief? Only when we truly believe that our clients tell us can we fight with everything we have for their cause. In any battle, there can be no victory without faith. Interesting. So, I believe you, unwaveringly. What's funny, Gina? Of course, sounds like this. Sounds like in this empire of Japan you come from, everyone must be soft. Hmm? Well, come on, look at the mess it got you into. Believing in that bog trotter. Yeah, I inadvertently helped the murderer walk free. Well, at least you learned your lesson now. Believing in people is never worth it. Someone always stabs you in the back in the end. As soon as you let your guard, you had it. I don't think so. Take a leaf out of my book. Believe no one. Get hurt by no one. Gina, may I ask you something? I just like to make absolutely sure. What would you like us to do with these representation papers for tomorrow's trial? How many times do I have to say it? Rip them up and chuck them away. Are you really sure that's what you want? I bet that's what he wants and all now, Mr. I'm a Believer lawyer's over there. Don't forget it was me in that trial 2 months ago. I led everyone up the garden path, didn't I? And you're telling me you can believe in me after all that? Not likely. Actually, well, Mr. Naruto, a lawyer's primary weapon is an unwavering belief in his clients. Yeah, you should put an unwavering belief in Christ. That's who you need to put. Gina, let me say it again. Please allow me to represent you in tomorrow's trial. Are you half-baked? Not at all. You've not once admitted to committing the crime, have you? What's more, I believe that you're telling me the truth. Seriously, Mr. Naruto? Didn't you hear all of what I just said before? I'm a born liar. Fibs just trip off me tongue. I'm a diver, don't forget. I pulled the wool over your eyes 2 months ago and got you in all sorts of trouble. Why would you ever trust me now? I just don't get it. Gina, I do understand why you chose not to put your trust in others, but I assure you, there's no more to this life than you yet realize. What do you mean? The world we live in is full of people you would do very well to trust. People you won't ever let you down. You wanna get rickrolled or something? It's true that I'm just a student of law. I'm certainly lacking in courtroom experience. I can promise you this, whatever happens, and until my very last breath, I'm completely on your side. What'd you expect me to say to that? Then it's decided. I'll take these papers now and carry out the necessary preparations for tomorrow's trial. It would be a shame to throw them away now, after it's been penned with your name so beautifully. Do what you like. You Eastern lot are... I don't know what you are. I don't get ya. Alright, we got her. Now we can finally set out to clear her name. She never admitted, but I hope she's feeling relieved. That turned out alright in the end, I think. That sounds like Sir Jazeel to me. Let's pray and head out to them. Whoever's hiding in there, show yourself at once. Eavesdropping in the height of cowardice. Misusata? Somebody's in there in the shadows. I can sense it. Somebody who wasn't there before. What? Blimey, you're sharp, eh? It's Gregson. I suppose you're using one of those mystic Japanese art, like the art of stealth I've heard so much about. If anyone was being stealthy, it was you, Inspector. Gregsy? Oh dear me. I must terribly sorry, your ladyship. I didn't mean to startle you. How long have you been listening in on our conversation? Good grief, listening in? No, I just got word that there are some visitors who are refusing to leave even though it's after hours. I assure you, your ladyship, I only just arrived this very minute. Not a moment earlier. That's all. This, nothing untoward, nothing at all. After hours? Isn't that late already? So then, I humbly excuse myself now, your ladyship. Ta-ta, doodle-doo, cheerio, all the best, bye-bye. That's a lot of farewells, and not one of them appropriate for her ladyship. Oh, but I wanted to have a chat. I'm terribly sorry, but time's pressing at the minute. Oh, I see, that's a shame. If I don't get this emergency at the Supreme Court dealt with sharpish Lord Strongheart, well, emergency? Lord Strongheart? Forget it, I said anything. I'm off. Alright, Gregsy. If you have to, but let's chat soon. Light it, charm. Can't wait. Please, great pleasure. It's a lot of pleasantries, and not one of them sounded sincere. Alright. Gregsy's so funny. He sees such silly things. It's certainly entertaining to see an inspector of the police fawning to a 10-year-old girl. Anyway, I wonder what this emergency is at the Supreme Court. I must attend the court clerk's office now before it closes. Of course. Thanks, Miss Susato. Alright, we got to end off this to be continued. Kindly escort Iris home now, Mr. Naruhodo. I shall meet you there later. And so our investigation came to an end. Susato-san went to file the necessary papers for the defense of Gina the following day, and then it hit me. I could no longer suppress the wretched feeling that had been gnawing away at my insides. Tomorrow, Susato-san would be leaving Great Britain, and making her way back to Japan. 16 April 11:13 p.m. Naruhodo's legal consultancy. Naruhodo-san, it's been very trying today, hasn't it? I hope you're not too exhausted. But you, Susato-san, today's been even more trying for you, I'm sure. Mr. Sholmes are shocked before our eyes. Gina was arrested. On the back of the news that her father's fallen ill and she must return to Japan at once. I hope your father recovers soon. Thank you for your kind words. I wonder why it is that so many thoughts rage in my head like a storm. Hey, Donaway. Sorry I couldn't make it to your previous streams. How are your League of Legends and your Genshin Impact games stuff? Hope they were doing well. And hope you're doing well. And hope your weekend's been well. Seem unable to find the words to express any of them. I know exactly what you mean. Anyway, I have one final task to complete as your judicial assistant. Once that's done, I shall make preparations for my departure tomorrow. One final task? Well, nice! You got your first rabbit. Sweet! Okay, we have to there's so much dialogue left. It's just that 2 months since we've arrived in London, but we've managed to establish this office. It was finally feeling as though we're settling in. Congratulations, AC. I would be lying if I felt no regret. I'm so sorry, Susato-san. It's just so sudden. I really don't know what to think. I had no time to gather my thoughts. And I know we've only been here a short while, but in my limited experience of the courtroom, I feel I've learned something. And what would that be? It seems to me there are many facets of people's personality. Facets? It's like a jewel. Light plays off them in complex patterns, illuminating their actions and their motives. Got him in the back of the head. Donaway says, I'm doing good. We had a church service via Zoom, and next week we can go to church and we wear masks, but it's not mandatory. Alright, well, that's pretty exciting. I hope your next church service can be well soon. So you can see only a small number of total facets, but what's illuminated is only a part of the whole story. What lies in the shadows? What do those facets we cannot see looks like? Perhaps there's some small parts we never lay our eyes on. For example, for as long as we live. That's so true. Sometimes I feel as though I'm blind so much. I keep hoping that one day it will all become clear, that all the facets will be illuminated, and finally understand how everything fits together. Naruto-san, I suppose what matters is we keep our eyes open and keep moving forward, even in the way it sometimes feels dark. It's amazing to think it's just been 2 months. You've grown so much. Sorry? What? Oh, no, it's nothing. Unimportant. Alright, tomorrow's departure. Do you know what time you'll leave in Japan in the morning? Donaway says, have you ever thought of learning a new language? In the past, I've learned Japanese and moved to learning Korean. I've learned a tiny bit of Japan and a little bit of Korean pronunciation, but I've learned a bit of Spanish as well, and a bit of French, but I've never gotten really good at it. Yes, I picked up my ticket earlier. How about you? Do you think you're gonna learn anything other than Korean or Japanese, Dunaway? I feel like well, I'll escort you to the station. Absolutely not. Sorry. I'm sure you realize why I couldn't possibly let you do that. You have a very important day ahead of you tomorrow. Tina's trial. I know, but every word you utter will have potential to determine Gina's fate. You must get as much rest as possible, even though, like me, I'm sure you'll find it hard to sleep. Yes, but please, for me, do try. Alright, final task, let's hear it. Probably in the future, I know some Korean words. You mentioned one final task a moment ago. What did you mean? Oh my, nearly forgot. Please, I want you to have this. What's that? Some huge bundle of documents? It's my notes from the case 2 months ago. The murder that was committed on the omnibus. And the guilty case. It seems to me that this case of Mr. Winterbank's murder, which Gina is accused, is very much tied up with that omnibus case in ways that we're not completely yet apparent. I actually learned some Korean words when we had some Korean, I guess, immigrants in my elementary school days. So we didn't learn that much. We kind of like learned 안녕하세요 and stuff like that. Banzai. I don't know, but yeah, I haven't really learned it enough to say I'm competent. Susato-san still managed to do this. I only learned biblical languages, and that was just for class. I'm not a pro. So probably some Hebrew and some Greek. I did learn a bit of Greek, like, you know, 1 John and stuff like that, but it was a small experience. It was nothing serious. Greek is readable, yeah. You can pronunciate it if you just learn how to put it together. It's my pleasure. I can only hope that it will bolster your case tomorrow, Virginia. Thank you so much, Susato-san. I'll do my best and use it wisely. You really are the best judicial assistant in the world. Well, that's extremely flattering. But I'm sorry to say that I've been a complete failure. Sorry? I didn't quite catch what you said there. Uh, Ignore me. I'm just mumbling to myself. Yeah, Hebrew does take a lot of work. I mean, isn't the biblical Hebrew like most of the time there's like no vowels and all that? Seems like very tough. Alright, we're almost there. We could finally raid Sir Jaziel. Well, it's getting rather late. I think you should go to bed now, Naruhodo-san. I just finished packing up my things in my room. Sato-san, I wish you the very best of luck tomorrow. Good night. Wait, there's something I need to say. Oh yeah! They have a system in place to make up for it. Ah, I see. What was that? Secret technique of mine. The Susato shutdown. Shutdown? AC says, though I'm not exactly sure how that changes this. Changes things. Yeah. Please, I implore you. If we have to voice our goodbyes, I won't be able to hold back my tears. That's so sad. I want to say goodbye. Susato-san. This truly had been a trying day, on our feet for hours, getting Gina to open up to us, learning the truth about that nemesis of a case. Physically and mentally, I was exhausted. But yet the idea of sleep seemed impossible. I forced myself to close my eyes, and as a cacophony of scenes of our lives here in London played through my mind. Eventually, the fatigue triumphed, and I fell into deep sleep. You could probably hear probably your Sir Jaziel a little bit in the background. We'll mute it for a sec. Oh no, are we starting already? Yes, I quite understand. That is a great weight off my mind. Huh? Okay. AC says, overall, it's very mathematical and logical language in a sense. The system makes it somewhat predictable, but at the same time it's complex because of many differences from the Latin alphabet. Ah, I see. Rest assured, I shall put everything in place exactly as we've discussed. Thank you so much. It's been an honor and a pleasure to be acquainted with you, Mr. Sholm. Maybe she's leaving at night. On the contrary, the pleasure's in mine. So she left early, I guess. Bid you farewell. Godspeed. My dear madam. My dear madam. He said, my dear madam. Okay. Let's raid Sir Jaziel. Thanks so much for hanging out. Let's quickly pray and head out.